Fantastic. All right. Take two, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Darth, Shaun, and Mork Rock from the Mork Rock Show. As I was saying earlier, Darth, Shaun, I'm used to your picture on the show.
Yes.
And I gotta admit, you look better in the picture.
Thank-
But I'm glad to see you don't have a helmet. No, it's good to see
I'm
your
a
face.
little
It's
bit
good.
disappointed that I don't have one.
All good, all good. Mork, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay, I'm good, man. For a second there, I thought you couldn't hear us anymore.
No, I can hear you. Happy May
Okay.
the 4th.
Happy May the 4th to you both, man. Thank you guys so much for joining me on the show. And ladies and gentlemen, please go in the link in the description. There is a link to these guys' YouTube channel. Great stuff. When's the next episode coming out?
Soon. We'll be doing something this week.
Did you not do something for the 4th of May? How dare you?
No, we got something, but it's taking so much longer than we expected because it's something going to be quite cool. So
Okay. All right. Okay. I'll wait with. Why are you laughing?
we're just going to get it. It's probably just going to get demonic. Like not even just get removed probably.
All right. So Chocolate Cat says Darth Shane equals Darth Raven.
Yes.
Exactly.
So. And Voot is waving. Hello, hello, Voot. All right, guys. So let's get right into the conversation, man. Star Wars and the failures of Star Wars. I figured, everyone always boasts about Star Wars on Star Wars Day. So let's change it up a little bit and talk about what we think are the mistakes that Star Wars makes. And I know some Star Wars fans might be like, oh, mistakes? No, Star Wars is perfect. No, it's not. It's sometimes can be really, really bad. But I think the first question I'm going to ask you guys, and we'll start with you, Mork, is the prequels. So episode 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
Would you say that those are the mistakes of Star Wars?
No. Actually, to be honest, like I have this opinion that I love the original, like the original trilogy, but actually when you really watch the prequel trilogy, I actually find it better because there's so much more world building. It's so much more technical. There's so much more layers to stuff, and that's the setup for the original trilogy. So if you really think about it, like I mean, personally, I like the prequel trilogy much more than not. I mean, I wouldn't say more, like probably like 10% more, just because of that. It shows the Jedi Order in its prime. It shows like what the society was like, and then how it became. Like if you look at the trilogy, the original trilogy, that's just like a maybe like a 3-year snapshot of what happened to like 5 people,
Yeah,
and that's kind of it.
yeah. Well, Shaun, let me get your opinion on this as well, because I'm gonna narrow in on this. But give me your. What are you of the same opinion?
Yes. Yeah, it creates the world for you. It builds the story of where Star Wars began, where the Jedi Order started. Um, yeah, I would totally agree with Mark.
Okay, but then why, when the trilogy first came out, and by the way, I agree with you guys. When the trilogy first came out, um, I think I watched the first Star Wars movie I ever watched was The Phantom Menace, and then that just made me go back and watch the originals. But there was a lot of backlash when those trilogies came out. There was a lot of people saying, "Oh, this is horrible. George did too many CGI effects and all that stuff." And there was a lot of backlash, obviously, for Jar Jar Binks. And as a matter of fact, someone did mention Jar Jar in the in the comment section that he was a useless character and pointless. And I guess to some degree that's true. Do you guys think that maybe the reason, or one of the reasons why now the prequels are more, I would say, admired and accepted, is because they messed up the new trilogy?
I mean, honestly, to tell you, you know what I think happened. I think it was people were expecting the same. They were expecting the exact same, and you can't tell the story over. It's like once you've seen, like it's the first, like the first Matrix. Once you've seen it, it's like the cat's out of the bag. There is no going back. You can't get plugged in. It's like this is the reality, and it's dawned on you, and it's like what? And the prequels were like, we got to fill in the gaps. We got to explain what's happening. How did this become where it is? So yeah, I think it was just expectation. But I mean, I do have a nice anecdote. Like there's this theory about Jar Jar Binks. I don't know if you've heard it,
Not very
about
few.
the one where they thought he could have been, George Lucas wanted him to basically be Darth Plagueis.
Yes, I've
But
heard that
because of the backlash, people he was like, oh shit, better change stuff up quickly, because it's like, he does that vibe where everything's luck based. Everybody else is not luck based, but Jar Jar was kind of like, he was this fool, the drunken master, that type of vibe. And then, everybody's like, oh, I hate it, Jar Jar's stupid. And then, here we go.
Darth. Shaun, what is your take?
On Jar Jar, I think every Star Wars movie so far, you've had the comical relief aspect to it, and I think Jar Jar played that role quite well. I mean, I never liked him as a character. I felt that he took away from the story of what was going on. I understand the aspect that you need a bit of humor to it, but I think Jar Jar was just a bit overboard. It's like parking Mr. Bean in a serious movie. It was just like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
you
It was
know,
too much comic relief. He was just
yeah,
like, he was too, and it was because it was, I mean, remember also, this is when like CGI technology just came out. It's one of the
Yeah.
first characters that's full blown CGI. And it's like, do it now. I mean, when you watched, what was it, The Mandalorian, and we see like a CGI Luke, you're like, what? Look how far we've come. So back then it was like, okay, where's the puppets?
Yeah. I kind of agree with you guys, but I think Jar Jar. I love Jar Jar. I'm not gonna lie. He was one of my favorite characters. All about word,
Yeah.
Joe. What the hell?
No.
But but he was. I enjoyed his comic relief. I enjoyed it. I didn't find anything wrong with him. As a matter of fact, as the series went on, I was like, why is Jar Jar not becoming more of a important character? He just kind of seemed to fizzle away. But it is what it is. Before we go on, I just want to mention to the audience listening in, guys, I do see your questions coming in, and I will address them from time to time. So please keep the questions coming in. If you have any questions for these guys are huge Star Wars fans, nerds, geeks. That's why they're on the show. I am one too. You guys have seen my background. I love Marvel, DC, and Star Wars, and all the great stuff. Like
I really thought you'd be wearing the robe, Joe. It's Star Wars Day. What the hell?
I'm wearing.
Where did you get the robe, though? I love that, but like, I've always wanted a robe. That's the one. And I want Obi-Wan's like official lightsaber, but good lord, are they pricey?
Yeah, it's 15,000 on Sabervolt. Just saying.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
And that's $, right?
no, 15,000 rand.
Oh shit! Oh, okay, no.
Yeah.
Good lord.
Yeah.
Ah.
At least I think it's 15,000 rand.
No, I think you're right. It's like, I mean, I know they start about $400 and up, and I'm obviously like the Obi-Wan saber would be.
Yeah.
there.
Obviously now because it's mainstream again, it's like so pricey. I remember, and I still kick myself till today. When was this? It was like 2000. I want to say 2011, 12, somewhere there. There was a figurine shop, one of these collectible figurine places, with comic books and stuff like that. Something like Reader's Den. I don't know if you've heard of it. And they had the replica Obi-Wan lightsaber, official Star Wars one. At the time, in 2011, 12, somewhere there, it was 1,500 rand, and I kick myself for not buying it.
Oh yeah, now it's like it's a down payment on on a car or something.
Anyway, I do want to let's do attend to some of the questions coming in, because Anonymous Lex has repeated the question here. Question: me and my girlfriend still can't settle on this. In what order do we need to watch Star Wars? Please give the names and dates to each one.
I mean, I think that's personal preference, right? That's like, if you want to watch it in order. So there's two ways of watching it. It's watching in like how it was released, or there's watching in chronological order, which is
One, two,
how
three,
it's
four,
supposed to
yeah.
be. So, but the nice thing is, if you haven't watched it, I would watch it in the way it came out.
yeah.
So it's like, you got this thing, and then then it falls in, because like I think it was the original trilogy that kind of got you just in love with Star Wars. If you start with the first ones, I think it's like you get the sense of it, but it's like, I don't know, maybe it's disjointed. I don't know, because I mean, the first one I saw was Return of the Jedi. I was like a kid, and I think we were on holiday somewhere, and I came to the room, and my dad was like, "Oh, look what's on." I'm like, "What the f- is this?" And I was just like, strapped myself to the screen. It's just like, oh my god, what? The swords, just like lost it.
Darth, what do you think?
I think, look, if you want to follow the story, I would say, watch the prequels, then the original. However, it's going to ruin it for you, because by the time you get to the original three, episode 4, 5, and 6, the quality in CGI is going to mess up. You're going to go, why am I watching this?
But also then
Um,
there's that mystery of like the when
yeah,
in like in what the second one, episode 5, where the infamous "I am your father." Then you kind of know that already, like going
yeah,
into that. So
yeah.
it's not like a what the fuck, it's not that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so watch the originals first, and then go next.
Yeah, okay. I think we all agree with that. I mean, my ex girlfriend didn't watch Star Wars, and I
That's
introduced
why
her.
you broke up, obviously.
Well, surprisingly, no. But um, I introduced her to Star Wars, and I did it that way. I was like, we're gonna watch it 4, 5, 6,
Yeah,
1, 2,
exactly.
3, and obviously when the new ones came out, we watched them. But yeah, that I felt that even though, like, I hear what Sean's saying with the whole CGI thing, because you're gonna watch you watch something that's cock visual effects first, and
Yeah,
then you see the better one. But at the same time, I did watch it in chronicle order,
yeah.
and you know that the originals were made in the 70s, so I
Yeah, no,
mean,
exactly.
you,
But it's still not bad. If you look at it,
yeah.
it's like it fucking looks amazing.
Okay, but
Like
here's
even
here's a question. Sorry, here's a question.
yeah.
Because there's actually two versions to
Oh yes,
the originals. There's the
yes,
remastered, and then there's
yes.
the original. So
Oh
which
yeah,
ones would you guys prefer?
an original.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Old
I kind of like the one where Anakin is there, but like then at the same time, it's like, well, you can't get younger when you become a Force ghost. It's like like George, do you not think of that? It's like he just kind of wants to link it with. Yeah, I think he did it with the thought in mind of people watching, because remember it was like what it was like 20 years between the
Yeah.
original trilogy. So like
Yeah.
people are going like, who's this old buddy that's here now? Like, and then they go, oh, it's Anakin. Okay, cool. And then you got the thing. But I mean, I didn't really mind that much at all.
I'm gonna be honest. I haven't seen the original. I've only seen the remastered. So I must try and see the
I
original.
mean, that's the only scene, Joe, that changed. As far as like, yeah, as far
Apparently,
as I
they
can.
enhanced.
There's a scene in the cantina where
Yes,
they've added the CGI character that sings with the
Oh
band.
yes.
oh
Like
yeah,
They
you're right.
minor
also
things.
they also cleaned up Jabba the Hutt a few
Yes.
times. They cleaned up the lasers and the lightsabers. I almost called them swords like an amateur. And
Who are you?
yeah, they just did a bit of cleanup and sound effects the majority of the time. Other than that, like you said at the end with Anakin. All right, so I just want to also touch on. Okay, so this is what
Rita did shoot first.
Anonymous said is I'm gonna follow the story route. She wanted to watch them based on the release dates,
Yeah,
and
go
he
for it.
says my girlfriend's gonna be pissed. Um, So Zach gave his opinion on it. He said, "A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back. When Luke discovers the truth about Darth Vader, turned to the prequels as a flashback. Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, finishing with Return of the Jedi." That's an interesting one.
I must try it like that.
Yeah, I mean that could be interesting. Yeah,
That's an interesting one.
yeah,
I don't think I've heard that one before.
yeah.
And then earlier on, Trouble Cat said Mork hits the nail on the head. It's the same issue with how gamers want the same thing but complain that no devs take risks.
Yeah, exactly, 100% trouble cut.
So yeah, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, keep the questions coming in. And Anonymous says I can't even watch the Avengers because my girlfriend wants to watch them wants to watch from the very first one until the latest. Boy, that's a weekend, dude.
I think that's more than a weekend.
Is it? It's
Yeah,
like
there's a,
how many? 26 films, 21 films, somewhere there.
I mean,
20.
what does
I
it
mean,
start with? It starts with the
no,
Hulk.
no, no. Well, yeah, it depends on which Hulk you consider part
Oh
of the
yeah, that's
MCU. Like
true.
you're gonna have to be unless if you start with the Avengers, but the characters that are in the Avengers, I would start from Captain America, First Avenger, and then progress further, Iron Man,
Oh,
etc.
because that's
But
also you got to watch it either chronologically. It
yeah,
actually makes more sense if you watch it chronologically than as to how it came out because
yeah, because it
some
was
things are
Iron Man
set.
1, Iron Man 2, and
Yeah,
then Captain America, I think.
yeah.
Yeah,
It sounds like you've got latency on your mic, Shaun. Oh,
it sounds fine to me.
okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Anonymous says it's way more than a weekend. Possibly. Yeah. I mean, shit. Avengers. Was it Infinity War or Endgame that was almost 3 hours longer, just over 3 hours?
Yeah.
So, and then you got two of this. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Marvel. We're here to talk about Star Wars. And the one thing, Mark, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry.
Okay.
Give me. There we go. Sorry.
All right. So mistakes that Star Wars made.
Oh God,
I
here we
have a
go.
feeling.
We're gonna
I,
need a weekend.
let me rather ask it like this. We'll start with Shaun. Give me, in your opinion, the biggest mistake Star Wars has made, in your opinion.
The Force Awakens,
Ooh,
the
that's
entire fucking thing. Just like all three movies, like that's my theory. It's just an abortion. It's just
wow.
quite relevant for
Okay. So you're saying Force Awakens and then everything after that.
yeah, it's weird. Like I have mixed feelings about it. I like some of the characters. I've never had an issue with the character of a strong female lead, but it's just Ray doesn't make a mistake at all. Like it's just
ever.
whatever she does, she's just amazing at it. And
Yeah,
I mean, if you look at Anakin Skywalker, he had to train to be a Jedi. Here comes this chick who lives in the desert, and she's a scavenger. Yet she knows how to fly a ship. She knows how to use a lightsaber. It's super OP, like
you can do a Jedi
overpowered.
mind trick first time. Like,
Yeah,
God,
it's just that. But like, there's aspects that I loved about it. Like, I truly liked Kylo Ren as a character. I mean, I think the actor Adam Driver did as best as he could, but I would have loved to see him in maybe a reboot of a better story. Yeah, but it's just, yeah, the whole thing.
The I have a feeling, Mork, you're gonna say the same thing.
no, actually, I'm going to go with the problem I had was Disney buying it.
Oh yeah,
I think that's where your problems actually started because I think it was like it started with that. I mean, everybody knows the story. Like they bought it for something like $4 billion.
4.3. Yeah.
Yeah, and then George Lucas was like, "Hey, by the way, guys, I've written the outline for episode 7, 8, and 9," and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, we'll pay you extra. Was it 0.4 billion?
I think yeah,
0.4
somewhere
billion
there around
extra
there.
to get the scripts?" And they was like, "Cool." And then they just went. They did exactly what Luke did with the lightsaber. They just chucked it, and we're going like, imagine they did that with Harry Potter. Like no one would love it because like the master, I think the person that the craft, the vision was always George Lucas. You throw him away, and then it's like, well, we're gonna wing this on our own, and that's where the problem. I think the problem lies is with and also I think Kathleen Kennedy going like, let's be woke and get like
Hmm.
female writers because diversity and reasons, and then you have these entry level writers writing things and basically just copying the original trilogy. I mean, as far as I know, J.J. Abrams hated the prequels. He doesn't dig it at all. And if you look at the movies, it's copied like A New Hope Force Awakens copies A New Hope like almost line for line. Oh, I mean, to a degree.
Yeah. No, I definitely noticed that. Someone asking anonymous saying, "Could you please do a Star Trek night as well?" No.
What do we look like? Wreckheads. What?
Sorry, I had to bring that up. I agree with you, Mork. Like that was the one thing that I was very disappointed about
Yeah.
with the Force Awakens. Like the Force Awakens, I mean the anticipation, right?
Oh, dude. I mean,
Everybody was feeling that energy, right? That build up. I mean, when you watch the first trailer and the teaser trailer, and your little giddy geek radar is just
100%.
and
Felt
then you
like a
go to
child.
yeah,
No,
and then,
honestly, I felt like a child, Joe. It was like when I saw the trailer, I watched it. And my wife still recorded me, and I was going, and now I look back and I'm like, babe, you delete that. I would never. No one will ever see that. I hate it. That's the only thing. If I had the DeLorean, I would go back and I would change that. Mate.
you slap yourself in the face like you don't even know. Like I think, yeah, but I think we're all like excited, and then we watch, and as the movie's progressing, at the beginning opening scene,
Yeah.
I didn't mind. Right, it's
Yeah,
cool.
no, no,
Kalo stops the laser thing, and it's
Yeah,
like,
no.
oh yes. And then halfway through, when they're looking for Luke, I'm starting to think,
Yeah.
shouldn't we have found him by now? Like this is like one of the main guys of Star Wars. Like, what the hell? And then it becomes a quest. Then, sorry guys, if you haven't watched. By the way, there is going to be spoilers on the show. I'm not going to try
So
and
many
hide anything.
spoilers.
So there's a big spoiler coming now. I warned you. Harrison Ford's character dies, which was like, that was like, I think, an attempt of like their "I'm your father" moment, like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
big
No,
shocking
100%. Yeah. No,
moment,
you know what?
which
You know what it actually is, Joe. It was they were trying to recreate that moment with Luke and Obi-Wan. It's the same scene to a degree, because it's like,
yeah, it actually
also
is.
what you're saying is correct, because it's like Ray meets Han, and then they're like, it's like, oh wow, this is Han Solo, and then it's like, it's almost like this father figure she never had, and then they kind of copy the scene, but her reaction just felt like when you watch it, and she's going no, and you're going like, what? You met the guy 4 hours
You've
ago,
known him
like.
for like 6 hours, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what are you upset about? It's like, like I would be more upset about, that's how upset I would be about Joe. I've known Joe for a while now. We didn't meet, like, I was like, if it was you, Joe, and I'd met you an hour ago, I'm like, oh shit, Joe's dead. That's okay, But I mean, it just didn't, like, so like they're trying to do this emotional reaction, and you're like, and you're like just going, wait, that doesn't feel right.
The audience had a greater reaction than she did.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that was I didn't like that. I didn't feel it was necessary to kill him off, is what I'm trying to say.
No,
I
exactly.
felt it was very disrespectful to the character. Like, I mean, I've
Yeah.
loved Han Solo as a kid. I remember always like putting on my dad's like little short sleeved little jacket and running
Yeah.
around. Pew, pew. But I just felt like it was so disrespectful to the character. It was a very intimate moment with his son, and then, well, just to kill him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think also that's what they were trying to do. They would go like, let's how impactful could we do? Is like killed by his own son, and it's like, but also like I think it was more disrespectful what they did with the Han character leading up to that, because it's like, if you recall, Han was never like, he was a scoundrel, but he was never a cheat or a liar. And then that scene where these guys like, you owe me money, like he paid. I mean, remember what he did with Jabba the Hutt? He owed him money, and he went off to go try, and he wasn't like a liar and a cheat. He was just a scoundrel. He was like a what's the other word for it? Smuggler. That was it. It was like he's not a pirate, but they made him out to be this like untrustworthy, dodgy guy, and he's like I just felt like, I don't know, it didn't feel real. It didn't feel like the Han I grew up with or that I knew. It was like he sat there, and the thing for me was the first time I watched it, I was like, it didn't click because the excitement was so hectic.
Yeah.
And then a couple of months later, when I watched it again, I was going like, hold on, wait, this feels all wrong. And yeah, then it went
I was
downhill from there.
expecting him to like whip out his whip and his fedora. And what I mean is like it's the same. Like if you look at Indiana Jones' character, it kind of has a very similarity to Han Solo.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just whipped.
Yeah, well, I gotta admit that I think the moment towards the end of Force Awakens when they destroyed the new Death Star in almost the exact same way they destroyed the
Yeah.
Death Star. That's when it clicked for me, and I was like, "This is just a ripoff of the first one."
Exactly. But also,
That's
like this is the thing. You know what you should do? You should go rewatch it and just like look at it from a logical point of view. And you're going like, okay, wait. So the good guys won. And how did no one notice this thing? It's like if you see when they shoot the other planets, they shoot 5 planets, right? It's like, you could see it. It's almost like the moon. You can see the other planets there. Did no one fly by and go, wait, that looks weird? There's a big gun in the planet. Like, no one saw this. The Republic, like the rebels, the good guys weren't. They're in charge of the Republic. No one notices a fucking planet, Death Star. Like, what?
No,
I can't.
that was that the logic in the movies I think is very flawed. The
Yeah.
second one, because like there was also like behind the scenes
Yeah, I know there
fighting
was
and
issues. Yeah.
issues and all that stuff with the writing and directors and all that stuff. Star Wars seems to always be plagued when you come to take on the project. Even George Lucas himself said these movies are not easy to make for many reasons. But having said that, what was the one after Force Awakens? It was
The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi.
Mm.
Opinions on The Last Jedi. I know, Darth, you said, from Force Awakens, all of its cuck, but like, honest opinion about Last Jedi.
You just got to give me a few minutes. I got to dig deep in the emotional distress and all of that PTSD. So I think Mork, you go first, and then I'll follow.
I mean, I remember sitting in the cinema watching this, and I think where it hit home was I think it was like maybe 2 minutes in where Poe is attacking the dreadnought, and he ends off with that "your mother" joke, and I'm going, and also like now all of a sudden you've got this Hux dude who's like, what was that other guy's name from the original trilogy where like Tolkien?
Talking.
Yeah, like he's just he's not scared of of Kylo. He tunes Snoke while he's his own man, and then all of a sudden he's just the butt of a joke in the next movie, and it's like going, wait, what? How did that happen? And then the scene with the bombers, I literally sat there going like, I'm gonna walk out because this is going to ruin my childhood, and it did. It like just sitting there watching like, how does gravity work in space all of a sudden? I couldn't. And then I started noticing from that, it just went all the way downhill.
Okay, Darth.
I agree with Mark with the scene with Poe and just facing off against this just massive ship. The humor felt weird. I felt uncomfortable. It's kind of misplaced. It was just okay. I know what you're trying to do, but it's not really funny. Yeah, I don't actually want to speak about the bombers.
Yeah,
It was just.
Do you think that Poe is maybe they were trying to make Poe into like the new Han Solo?
I
that's
think
what I
so.
thought.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got
it
that
felt
vibe.
like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that. I got that exact vibe. But then it's like, but the thing was, this is how I can sum up. I think the Ryan Johnson and J.J. Abrams. It's basically like it's two children in a playground, a $4 billion playground, just like my toy, my toy, my toy, and it's like you just went and ruined everything that Ryan Johnson had set up, and just because of like what was his saying to subvert expectation, and it's like you ruined it, honestly.
Okay,
It was
so
terrible.
what do we think about the ending of the Rise of Skywalker, and specifically when they tried to recreate that "I am your father" moment? Yeah, I can tell you guys. the noises that are coming out from these
Oh
guys.
my, like that movie, it was basically looking for a McMuffin, looking for a McMuffin, looking for a McMuffin. And the luck that these characters have, it's like you end up on a planet, you fall in a sinkhole, and you happen to find a McMuffin, and then you move on, and then it's like, oh look, this McMuffin leads to the next one. You know what, the part that just I was sitting in the cinema going, like, babe, like what the and my wife's just going, what's going on? It's like, I'm like, this is insane. It's where the part where they take the knife, and it's like, how do you know he was standing there? If it was 10 meters
The
that way, you'd never
chances
find
of
it. Like, what?
being in the right place at the right area, just with the knife, like the Death Star fell there. It's been there for 30 years. You're
Yeah.
telling me the waves and everything, it hasn't moved at
No,
all.
but remember, it exploded. It literally disintegrated. You could see it just go, nothing's left. And then it's like, oh, no, well, it's still intact. There's rooms are. Oh, my God. I can't. And the
So
ending is the worst. Joe,
did
the
you
ending of that
notice
movie.
how
Oh my God, I couldn't. I honestly couldn't. I wish, I really hope that. I mean, we could probably get into that later, but like, no, it was terrible. The ending was. I mean, the worst part was that where what is Palpatine?
Palpatine?
Well, first off, Palpatine's back. How did he survive? He falls into that laser thing
yeah.
pit and he disintegrates, and then the Death Star blows up afterwards. How? How do you survive? Like. Musa, calm down. It's going to be okay.
Darth?
There's so much wrong with that movie. I'll be here for a week, Joe.
Yeah, where do you start?
Okay. I don't know if you noticed, but what's the guy's name we were just talking about? The
Palpatine.
general dude.
Oh,
Hux.
Hux.
Yeah.
General Hux, yeah.
So from Force Awakens, he's a strong character. He takes charge, and then obviously the second one he becomes humorous. But by the third one, he's a pussy.
Yeah.
He's I don't see the point of him being there. And then
Yeah.
the
But they
the
replaced him with
scene,
that other guy.
yeah, because they wanted obviously being a bit more firmer type of person. But the scene that really got to me, and it's a minor little thing. It's when Palpatine is sucking the life force out of Rey and Ben. He suddenly has a costume change midway. He's wearing, before he's black, and then he's got the black robe on, and then all of a sudden he's got red on. Like, is it a
He's got brand new
fashion?
robes on. Like he's like, I
Yeah.
don't know what magic power is. But probably the funniest part, I literally broke out laughing in the cinema, was when the space horses were on the ship and they're going, oh shit, he's like, oh, they've got like, just, what does he say? Block the scanners so that they can't, use their thing. And the guy's like, no, they don't have cruisers. It's horses, sir. And he's like, oh shit, what do we do? He's like, tilt the ship, just meh. And then they all slide off and they're dead. We're like, there you won. How I And the worst part was like, oh, they don't know how to go up.
Look
What?
out the window.
Yeah, we need a magical tower that's going to tell us, just look out the window, like up's there. Destroyed, like the logic, like that's the thing. It was like, and if you look at the worst part was that they got a different director, I think, in between. I think that ruined it, because you got like this guy who has a vision, you get someone new and they're like, nah, whatever, and then you get the same guy, and then it feels like the two of them fighting. It's like, like the throws the lightsaber away, and then the new one is like, yeah, you don't disrespect the Jedi's weapon, and it's like, okay, film, stop, please, like.
I think one thing I will say is Mark Hamill tried to warn us.
Oh,
Dude, did
yeah.
you watch those interviews?
Oh yeah.
It's like, it was the saddest thing I've ever watched. I was like, and he's sitting there, and then they kind of shut him up, and it's like, I was going, oh fuck, I was about to cry, because Mark Hamill's like, he's like, what is this? Isn't Luke? And I'm like, oh shame, you poor bastard. I felt so sorry for him.
No,
Mark
it was
Hamill.
like I think like you said, like even though I was disappointed with the first with Force Awakens, I almost felt, because at the end, like I said, in the cinema, I remember thinking this clearly. I was like, "This is a ripoff of the first one of episode 4," and then I was like, "Okay, but they're, it's Disney. Maybe they just wanted to show off their visual effects and how great it can be, and it's IMAX now, and it's 2020 whatever 2019. I can't remember." And Disney just wants to show off what they can do. So I forgave them. I forgave
Yeah.
them for Force Awakens. Okay.
You know what? I think visually it was beautiful.
Yes.
Like it was
Yeah.
great. Like that. I mean, but then again, I can get a screensaver that kind of does the same thing. But
but that's what I'm saying. When the second one came out, and then Luke dies,
That was the worst death, by the way.
he
Like
just disappeared. Like
that
again,
was
it was an Obi-Wan death.
Yeah, no, but it's like the thing was, it's like it's about his character. He would not have done that. Like actual Luke Skywalker, he would have gone and faced his student, and you're like, no, I'm sending a Force ghost. Oh, okay, cool. Like, oh, the Force can do that now. Oh, that's cool.
or
Like
the
it was
teleportation of the lightsaber
oh,
shit.
that as well. It's just like let's add stuff. But I think that was like the thing was he would have come out and faced. I mean, if you think about it, wouldn't it have been better if he faced Kylo and Kylo struck him down, his own master? It would be like
Yeah,
this epic battle instead of him just going like, "I'm gonna pretend to fight you, and then I'm just gonna like, ah, and I'm gone."
like the
Like
typical Anakin and Obi-Wan scene when Darth Vader
yeah,
faces off, "Strike me down,
yeah,
I'll
it's like
become more powerful." Than
yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, they kind of did that scene again,
yeah,
sort of. But yeah, again, man, it was just.
but
I think they were more focused on visual aspects of the
yeah,
movies than they were with the storyline. And again, that's where, episode 2 came out. I was like, I'm not really sure how I feel about this.
yeah.
Episode, well, not episode 2, sorry, that would have been episode 8.
Eight,
And then
yeah,
episode 9 came out, and the trailer looked okay, and then you hear
yeah.
Palpatine's voice, and you hear the Vader, and you think all kinds of things, and then you watch it, and when that Palpatine moment came, another very disappointing thing, because the
Yeah.
guy is in some weird contraption that carries
he's like,
him,
"Dang, yeah, yeah."
you know,
Yeah, exactly.
and then all of a sudden he's all powerful. If you're all powerful, why do you need this machine
No,
to
totally.
like move you? And then and then the whole story about, I to be honest with you, the story, maybe you guys can clear it up. Maybe you
Yeah.
somehow were more focused than I was, because clearly I was gobsmacked by the entire thing. But how is it that Rey is the granddaughter of Palpatine? Can anyone explain this to me? Because I still don't get it.
No, but see, this is the thing. So, if, like you said earlier on, there was a whole bunch of shit was happening behind the scenes. Like, there's an interview from the actor that plays Palpatine, where he got called halfway through shooting of like
The last movie, yeah.
yeah, he got phoned halfway through, like, listen, yeah, we might want to get you back in. So it's like, obviously, because of what Ryan Johnson did. I mean, I'm thinking like Snoke could have. I mean, you could have, because like the whole vibe with Snoke, the setup was like he goes like, I've been around since the Republic. So it's like, oh shit, is he maybe he could be Palpatine? He could be Palpatine's like master. He could be Darth
Yeah,
Plagueis.
Mm.
You're like,
yeah.
okay, great setup, great story, great way to go. And then it's just like, oh, he gets killed. And then
Yeah,
what can
that
Ryan
death was also
Johnson do in
disappointing.
that situation? Like, oh, what can J.J. Abrams do? Is like, okay, cool, who's the villain now? So it was kind of like, I think that because there was no communication, there wasn't like a full script or outline. But as far as I know, J.J. Abrams did put an outline together, and Ryan Johnson just went, nah, I'm not going to do this.
Thanks, Ryan.
But there's another thing, and you know why I have the biggest issue with The Force Awakens is because that kind of sets up the world, and then you can only write so far. So like, you don't explain what happened in 30 years. So Luke trained no one, or they all died, and it's like the good guys won, the Republic is in the control of the Resistance, and all of a sudden, like these, the First Order rises, no one notices it. They leave out a lot of stuff. I mean,
Mhm.
I mean, we were chatting like about it yesterday, and we thought like, what they could have done? They could have gone, started it where it's like it almost becomes like a political thing that's happening where the factions are breaking up, and like a lot of the systems don't want to get together, and then you have this first order rising, and at the same time you've got like the what is it called, the resistance or the republic have like because they're the world police, so they're out somewhere, and then you have like, oh shit, a whole cruiser got destroyed, and then they rock up there and it's just like, oh, these are lightsaber markings. And then you could almost have like, I think someone mentioned in the chat, like, what is it,
Old
the Old
Republic.
Republic. You've got that scene where the Sith come out of
Yeah, the
wherever
ship
they come
like
from, come
crash
back.
lands, like, yeah, and the
You
door
could have
opens
done
up.
so much, but they wanted to recreate the emotional effect that the original trilogy had. And
And
if
they
you
would have
watch the
been.
movies backwards, you kind of see what happens is like, they want a desired effect. For example, Rey going when Han Solo dies. So then they set up these scenes, but it's not really enough. It's like, with Luke and Obi-Wan, it was like his master. He knew about his father. He knew the history. So when Obi-Wan dies, Luke's like, no, but it's like, it's real because that's the connection to his father, the history about him, all this stuff. It's his new master. It's the guy that's teaching him. It's the guy that got him out of, Tatooine.
Yeah.
With Rey, it's just like, oh, cool, the guy I heard about one time. He did the Kessel Run. And it's like, and when he dies, she's like, no, it's like, it's her father dying. It's like, that's not real.
Yeah. No, I agree with you guys. So I think one of the answers to the question or statement of all the things that Star Wars has done wrong is basically the last three movies
Yeah.
of the main storyline, because as we all know, there's other movies that have been created, which is Solo, a Star Wars movie, and Rogue One. Rogue One, I'm going to say it right off the bat, I think it was great.
Yeah, I agree.
I couldn't flaw it. I think.
And if you think about it, that was a throwaway line. Remember that one scene where they just go like, these bunch of people died for it, and then they made a movie about it, and it was excellent. I loved it. It was a great movie.
Yeah.
But Solo, ooh.
Would you say it was another mistake
Oh,
of Star Wars?
definitely. Yeah, but I mean, like, no one. But the thing was, I think it was a mistake in the sense of like what they did with The Last Jedi, and then Solo came out, and people boycotted Solo after The Last Jedi, and they deserved what they got because, and then again, Solo wasn't. I didn't find it that. I was kind of watching it, bored out of my mind.
I was a little bit disappointed because you had this great character, Han Solo.
Yeah.
You could have done a lot more with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a hit and a miss for me. It was a nice attempt, but yeah.
It also, you know what, it kind of felt almost like, if I think about it, it almost reminds me of Captain America. Like the train scene, and like somehow,
Yeah.
like it kind of has similarities to
yeah.
that. But I mean, there was great scenes, and I love where Darth Maul at the end. I like, I love that part. But like, I don't know, it was kind of a bit boring. What's Darth
Yeah.
Maul?
Yeah, Darth Maul, right at the end, yeah.
Look, I think I do think Solo was a bit of a disappointment as well. And again, they tried to do like a whole twist to it at the end, which I kind of saw coming. And the series, though, the series are doing well, I think. I haven't had a chance to watch Jabba the Hutt, but I have watched Mandalorian, which I love very much.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
I love
doing
it.
fantastic things with that. I cannot wait to see Obi-Wan. Hopefully, that's not a mess up.
See the trailer?
Oh, I've seen the trailer. Of course, I've seen the trailer.
I'm scared, Joe. I'm honestly, I'm really scared of what's coming.
Wait, are you saying that you weren't impressed by the trailer?
No. I like it, but at the same time, it's like I'm scared. I'm like, it's like, you're getting,
PTSD.
it's like being invited over to, like your child, you're being invited over to Joe Biden's house for a sleepover. You don't know what could happen. Like, I'm scared.
Well, Darth, what do you think of Obi-Wan, the trailer, and what's to come?
I've got a bit of hope for it. I'm hoping it pulls it off. There is like one character that I'm not overly fond of at this point. It's the it's one of the inquisitors with the. It just looked like they put on a bald cap. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen guys online that done it, improved it with some CGI, and it looks amazing. And you're going,
So much better.
Disney, couldn't you? It just feels like they've slapped a bald cap on him. It just.
On that topic, though, that character you're speaking of, that Inquisitor, he's the same species as, if you guys remember the third movie, the Revenge of the Sith, where Obi-Wan gets to that planet and there's this guy that's got this red vibe
Oh,
on his
that's right.
long
Yeah.
head. And looks like, that's the same species. You guys have done a better job before. Like, just do that. Like, what?
I mean, I'm excited for it. Like, I'm keen to
Yeah.
watch it. Like, I definitely, I watched Boba Fett.
Sorry, Boba Fett. Yeah, that's
Boba Fett. Yeah. I love the Mandalorian. Very excited when they introduced Ahsoka Tano in it.
Oh,
Like, I was over the moon
yeah.
for that. So,
my
I'm
all-time favorite
hoping
Star
they
Wars
pull it
character.
off. Yeah.
yeah. No, absolutely. I think Mandalorian is one of the most, especially at the end of the season 2
Oh,
with Luke
dude.
making a return. I was like, fuck
Wow.
yeah.
Exactly, dude. It was amazing.
And I think Mandalorian is definitely a great series. I love it. Can't wait for season 3. Can't wait to start putting my my eyes onto Boba Fett, the series, and we'll see with Obi-Wan. I have hopes because they've been doing all right with the series so far. They've done well. They did well with Clone Wars as well.
Dude, Clone Wars is amazing.
So I think there is hope when it comes to see, and I think, I've heard this argument before, and maybe you guys would agree, is that what they should have done with the Skywalker storyline is, instead of making 3 movies, could have made it into a series.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been nice to watch. I would have liked that. Because you can go a bit more in depth with the character. I find with the movies, you've got so many characters, and you want to obviously give everyone good screen time, and a bit of story on this character, a bit of story on that character. But it would be nice if they could focus just on Skywalker and his progress.
Yeah.
That would have been nice. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that, well, it's too late now. There was talks about an episode 10, 11, and 12. I don't know. Have you guys heard anything about that? That might be on the cards.
Do you follow what's it? Do you follow Doomcock at all, Joe?
No.
Okay, so you should go check out his channel. It's the future ruler of Earth, Doomcock, and he's got like what was it with the Rise of Skywalker? He's got connected people in in Lucas, in Disney, and he basically got the skinny on exactly what was happening way before. A lot of the information he comes out with is correct, but as far as I understand, there is this sort of internal struggle at Disney where it's like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, Dave Filoni who did the Clone Wars, and who did Jon Favreau who did the Mandalorian. They're kind of having this internal battle between them and Kathleen Kennedy, where it's like she wants to take it more this direction, and that's why I remember, if you I don't know if you guys remembered that they had this release about what was it, the Star Wars, some era. It's set 3,000 years before the Jedi. They did artwork for it, and they came
I
out,
think I remember that.
and then all of a sudden, you heard nothing about it.
Yeah.
So basically, how the vibe was, the Mandalorian did so well that the head of there was Bob Iger at the time. He was like, okay, cool. It changed over to Bob Chapek, and he was like, well, you're doing amazing, whereas all the other stuff is failing. I mean, they broke even with Star Wars episode 7, 8, and 9. I mean, they did well at the box office, but it was almost the same as what they were spending. They didn't, merchandise was like non-existent, whereas that was what like almost double what the movies would do, and the people just weren't buying stuff because it was depressing. But so as far as I get the skinny, Dave Filoni basically wants to retcon the entire 3 movies. This is so if you watch the one episode, what's that other show? Not the High Republic. Well, what's
Rebels, Star Wars
Yeah.
Rebels.
There's is it episode season 4, episode 9?
When Ezra goes to the Veil.
Yeah, he goes to the Veil,
Yeah,
and basically this sets up, and this happened just after. This was just after the Last Jedi.
yeah,
So basically, and if you look at Ahsoka's logo, that circle that they have, that is the Veil,
yeah.
which is this. Basically, it's this in between place. Now, I'm not really cool with them screwing with time, like time traveling and that. But if you go watch that episode and you look at the Ahsoka logo, putting that the Veil of the Force there, it's like there is an opportunity where they can actually go back and completely erase what happened with the three movies and redo it and restart it, which is
Isn't that what they did with Terminator though?
yeah,
They tried to do that whole time travel. We're gonna reset everything, and
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
But here's the
I think
thing though.
it's
So,
more. It's not really time travel. It's more multiverse aspect. So
yeah,
the idea was to cut out the latest three movies out of the universe, so they can pretty much start telling the story again from Skywalker. If obviously
yeah,
Mark Hamill wants to do it again, so they can rewrite that
yeah.
um, because of the abortion they did. So,
But also the thing is like George Lucas was obviously heavily involved in the Clone Wars. He's heavily involved in the Rebels, and you know all of this stuff. Dave Filoni checks them. I mean, there's this. I don't know if you watch The Chef on Netflix with Jon Favreau, where they literally go to the Skywalker Ranch. That was when him and Dave Filoni were busy doing The Mandalorian, and they sit there with George Lucas. Every single thing is like, what do you think of this character wise? I mean, George Lucas had a saying that he got on board for Ahsoka. As far as I know, he's actually he's on board for Ahsoka as well as Obi-Wan Kenobi. So that may be a good thing. So, but I mean, again, it's all hearsay. You got to take it with a shovel of salt.
Okay. So much you said there. Um,
Sorry.
no, it's a lot to take in. I think the one question I had on my mind is like, if they going back to the whole time traveling aspect of things and like trying to rewrite, could they not just start anew? Do you think that they have to time travel or somehow create a separate universe or whatever you want to call it? Because like that's kind of like what movie also did that where they created a separate universe? I think it was Star Trek, or was it?
no, it was Star Trek. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Star Trek.
And I don't know if that is necessarily the. I'm not saying that you're saying that it's the right thing to do. I'm just saying from a. I don't think it's the right thing that Star Wars or Lucasfilms or Disney should do. I think
Yeah.
what might be a better decision is just going, you know what, guys? Clean slate.
Yeah.
Let's just start at a point. We have new characters, we have new storylines, new whatever, blah, blah. It's, I don't know, 50 years after what happened with either episode 1 or episode 6 or episode 9 or whatever the case may be, any flipping timeline really. And I mean, like, I don't know if you guys played Fallen Order, Star Wars game.
Yeah, I loved it.
yeah.
See, like that is a story that they could make into a movie, right?
Yeah.
And they don't need, it's in the same universe. It's happening parallel with certain storylines, and it did a good job of explaining why there's other Jedi in the universe. I love that little explanation that they did there. That explains why there's children in the universe that nobody knows about, blah, 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 that happen to be Jedi. But I think if they did that, just start new, start a whole new trilogy or whatever you want to. Maybe it'll be nine parts as well, but just start completely new.
You know what I wouldn't mind them doing, but this is like I would love, because obviously now Kevin Feige, who oversaw Marvel, and I love what Kevin Feige did because he went and he kind of outlined the entire thing. That is so true. But so he outlined the entire Marvel universe, and then that's why we love Marvel, because everything connected. And that's what they didn't do with Star Wars. But now that's the other thing. So they've got Kevin Feige's now basically, as soon as they get rid of Kathleen Kennedy, he's going to head up Star Wars with John Favreau under him, and Dave
Oh,
Filoni,
nice. Okay.
including George Lucas. So George literally went to George Lucas and, please, can you come back? And he was like, okay, sure. So the thing is, the only way to fix it, they're never going to go listen clean slate, as in like let's read. They'll never redo it. So the only alternative would be is to go alternative timeline. And the thing is, the reason I mention it is because Dave Filoni and George Lucas wrote that episode of Star Wars Rebels where Ahsoka has this battle with Darth Vader in Rebels. She faces him, and then he kills her, and I think they fight each other, and then she dies. But then a couple of episodes later, Ezra somehow ends up in the Vale, and he sees this happening. So he sees there's all these doorways, and he sees this happening, and he grabs Ahsoka just before Vader kills him and pulls her in. And that's why Ahsoka is now with Luke and all that. I think so, right? Right? Yeah. So it could be a possibility. It almost like it's a life jacket in case to try and fix it. I think.
I just
I
don't
don't know.
like that. It's like a cop out. I feel it's a cop out.
I know it is true, but I mean, where someone screwed up your IP so hectically and split the fans down the middle, and now George Lucas, the creator, is going, listen, you guys should have done my story. I would like to see his story. I would like to see his outline. And I mean, I remember reading about it about years before the movies came out, where it's basically like it starts in Bespin, and that's where the Jedi Temple is, and Luke has got 2 children, and Han and Leia have got 2 kids, Ben Solo. And I think that was someone mentioned it earlier on the Star Wars Legends, the novels that were written. And it's like, this is one of those novels where George Lucas kind of had a bit of influence on. I think there was a pen or outline for it. And yeah, come on, guys, you can do better.
And what do you think, Darth? Do you think alternative universe is the way to go?
I liked your idea with, I think this problem started with the hype of Star Wars, the original characters, Han Solo, Leia, Luke Skywalker, and I think the reason they did these the 3 new movies that came out now was to build on the hype of the previous movies and the success of that. But I would have loved to see, like for example, the Fallen Order, brand new character. And it was nice. It was a fun game to play, and I mean,
great
I would
story.
like to see some new characters. I mean, you could do it 50 years later, 100 years later, 1,000 years prior to this happening. You could. There's so
Old
much
Republic.
more that you could do. Write your own story. Don't take the original characters and then just screw it up. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I would love to see something like that. There's so many more stories that you can tell. I mean, I would love to if they did a Old Republic series.
Dude.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
That is an amazing era as well. It's like the Jedi and the Sith, and they're both. It's like the Jedi are warring factions against.
Exactly.
It's like, imagine seeing that. I mean,
I think that would be like a Star Wars version of the House of Cards or something, or Game of Thrones.
It would also be. It would actually be like a Lord of the Rings version of Star Wars. It's like, imagine these massive battles. Like, because remember in the Old Republic, the Sith take over the planets where the Jedi. I mean, you guys watch the trailers of the Old Republic trailers. They are excellent. They're so epic.
Yeah, I think, like Shaun said, again, if you were to make a clean slate movie with new characters, you know what you could also open the door to is bringing back the original cast, depending on the timeline and where it's set.
Yeah.
So you can have them come in as cameos for like a short moment helping the main characters on with their journey, for example.
Like in The Mandalorian.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. That would be amazing.
And I think it would be much more rewarding for the fans. So, George, if you ever watch this,
but also the thing is, this is George. George was quoted saying that the story of Star Wars is the story about the Skywalker family. And the thing is, obviously, people going, "Oh, I just want family," but it's like, this is his, it's his creation. Like, just be true to the creator, and like, just you guys should have done what he did. And I would love it. I would love him to do like not a remake, going, here's the director's cut, almost like what they did with the Snyder cut. We're going,
Yeah.
this is George Lucas, and they redo episode 7, 8, 9 as George would have done it, and have Jon Favreau do it with Dave Filoni. Done. Take my money.
May not be a bad idea as well to do that. Why not? I don't know. I just
Yeah.
when they start talking about like, oh, alternate universe and this and that, like it starts to tread on that line as well as Spider-Man. The new Spider-Man.
exactly.
And although the new Spider-Man I did enjoy because
Yeah.
it felt like they were closing off other storylines and stuff like that. It wasn't and beginning new ones. I don't think it can be pulled off with Star Wars. I think the damage is already
No.
done. I think
Exactly.
I think it's just gonna get more fans angry. Like that's it. It's like it's what it's like. It's like Dexter.
God,
with the new season.
See, but this is the thing. This is what I'm scared of. Like every time, like something great happens, and then you're like, "What? Oh, this is great!" And then they just punch you. And like, why would you do that?
So
Why
like
would you do that?
Dexter, I actually haven't really given my full opinion. I did say once that I did enjoy the last season only because it was better than season 8. I think
What was season 8 again?
season 8 was when he faked his death.
Season 8 is the new one, right?
No, season 9
season
is the new
9.
one.
Oh,
Yeah.
9 is the new one. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't. The ending just. Oh my god, it bugged me. It bugged me so hard.
Of season 8.
And season 9.
Season 9. No. With
Season
season 8
9,
was
okay.
I was going like like how else would you end it? Like
He
just,
drops his sister into the water, and then he just
and then he like pisses off,
sails
and then
away.
I wouldn't have done the scene where they show him in Alaska, like he's a woodcutter now. He's like
Yeah, but you
he
see,
died.
that's the problem, right? So that was the problem with everybody. And so when they did season 9 and they're bringing back his son and all that stuff, I know we're going off Star Wars now, but the point is, that's a remake in a sense. It's another timeline. New characters were brought in. They're relying on the main character Dexter, and then they fuck up the ending again.
Exactly.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the way it ended is kind of the only way to end it in his death.
Yeah.
Dying by the hands of his son, I'm not too sure. And the son riding off into the sunset and all that, because now there's talks about a spin-off for a young Dexter.
But again,
I don't know.
You hit a very perfect example there where it's like you pointing out exactly what Hollywood's doing. They're trying to get an emotional reaction which doesn't feel real. Okay, like
Yes.
what could be the most hectic thing to do? We want an emotional payoff. The son killing, like the father. And it's like, same with, like, look at like the end of the Star Force Awakens. It's like, okay, cool, but it doesn't feel, I don't know, it just doesn't land. It's like they write the movie backwards. We want this thing to happen at the end, and then how can we get there? And then they write it backwards, and it's like
Exactly. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, at the end of Rise of Skywalker, where Rey says like, "I'm a Skywalker," I was just like,
God.
"No, you're fucking not."
Exactly. That's exactly the thing. I shouted it at the screen in the cinema, and people like looked. I was like, "No, you up and bury it."
You were like Luke in episode 5. No.
Oh man.
No, okay. So I think we all agree. Worst mistake Star Wars has done is episode 7, 8, and 9, which it's not surprising. At the beginning, when the movies first came out, like I said, I was a bit forgiving, but through time and watching them over and over again, I was just like, it's getting worse. And that's like the biggest thing, right? So if you watch episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, right?
Yeah.
It gets better every time you watch it.
Exactly.
Okay.
You pick up new things. It's like, oh wait, this is happening, this thing, and like every time I watch the other movies, it just gets worse.
Exactly.
Like it's just like every time you watch it again, you notice something like a logical point. You're going like, wait, why is Han Solo rock up on the ship? It's just luck.
Now, how did you find it?
Yeah, how did you find it? You can scan it. Oh, wait, they can scan the ship now, and then you go to the rebels base. Wait, you know they can scan the ship. Why would you go there? Like it just yeah, and you're completely right, dude. The more you watch the old ones, actually the better it is. I actually rewatched the Phantom Menace clone. I mean, Attack of the Clones. I mean, Hayden Christensen could have been a bit better, but I still love the movie. That scene at the end with all the Jedi and Mace Windu with the lightsaber. Oh my god, that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was just like a kick-ass scene.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think um it's just sad because Star Wars to me, and if there's any Star Trek people watching, I'm sorry, but Star Wars is better than Star Trek. Always has been, always will be.
100%.
Um,
Now we're gonna start like a fight.
Yeah, you're gonna
am I
start
gonna
a
get
huge
cancelled?
fight.
No. Look. Star Wars has so much better things going for it, and the sad thing is, really, I think I could be wrong, but I will give it credit where it's due.
Yeah,
I think J.J. Abrams did a phenomenal job with the new Star Trek movies.
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
no,
I
100%.
think
100%. Star Trek. Yeah, he did a
yeah,
good job.
he did a
I
good
loved it.
job. Great, right? Which is why he got Star Wars, because he
Yeah,
did such a great job with Star Trek,
yeah.
and then he fucked it up.
You're 100% correct. With Star Trek is more forgiving because there's already so much happening. The stories are the problem with Star Wars is it's a story about the Skywalker family. So what we wanted to see in the sequel trilogy was Luke Skywalker. It's like the guy who won. Like, where are all the Jedi that he's taught now? Why wasn't there a battle with him being attacked by, say, new Sith or something? And there's like
Yeah.
all these Jedi fighting. It was just like, no, we're going to do exactly. We're going to set the same scene. We're going to screw up the entire history so that we have the same what do you call it, circumstances as A New Hope, where like the good guys are outnumbered. But they can't be. It's like, but you wanted to create that emotional effect that they're running. I mean, like the second movie, which like they're running away and they can't shoot, and the logic and oh my god, Leia forced
Force kills
flying.
himself.
Yeah, that
I
was.
couldn't.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
That's
That
the
was
other
probably the
thing with
worst
the
moment.
Leia death, with the Leia near death. Sorry,
Yeah.
they should have let her fucking die.
No,
Yes.
That
exactly.
was the
That was a great
perfect moment.
opportunity. Killed by a son.
That would have gotten the emotional response that they
Exactly.
were trying to
100%.
get.
But then they come back and to do the thing. But the worst part was if you watch the scene where she comes to the door and they're like on the inside and she's like, oh, they open the door. She's in space on the other side. No one gets sucked out. And it's just like no one thought about that.
I
It's like
noticed
those
that.
little things. You notice more and more of that, and it just drives me insane.
All right, well, let me get to some of the comments before we end
Oh,
off.
yes, sure.
Trouble Cat had a question here. I think it's. Let me read both these questions, because I think they're both one and the same. Question for Shaun and Mork: how do they feel about Knights of the Republic 1 remake? I don't know if I want Mork or Shaun to tackle this. How do you think Knights of the Old Republic 1 will go woke with this modern remake?
I mean,
Oh, sorry, are we talking about the game or
yeah,
a like
no, but
series?
no, I think it's the game. There isn't,
Okay.
as far as I know, there isn't a series. It's the game. But the only issue I have with that is that the game company making it hasn't actually made like a big budget game before. The only thing they've done is they've ported games. So they've taken like old games for like, I think it was like PC games, and they've ported it to console. So this is their first big thing. As far as I know, they've got a couple of great directors and people involved. So I don't think they'll go. I mean, I don't think they'll go woke. I think like I mean, look at what's the game you mentioned, Jedi Fallen Order. I mean, that was great. I mean, there's a little bit of wokey stuff in it, but you don't even notice it. It's like cool, a female bad guy, and like I loved it. It was great.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I have not a single issue with it.
They
Put
didn't
the
push
work
it too
stuff
hard.
in with exactly. Put the work stuff in as long as I don't notice it.
Even the guy who Cal,
Yeah.
it's a gay actor. which don't have a problem with. I
No,
thought it
but
was
like
great.
I did have one problem though. Like
yeah,
I kept seeing him from Shameless getting ass pounded. Like that was my problem, just because like I made the connection that he's from Shameless, and that was the only
yeah,
issue I had. But otherwise, I loved the game. I
I
would
love
like
that.
if they did a sequel where you could choose a character. I mean, like
Oh
I've
yeah,
got no
yeah,
issue with playing with a female character or a male character. It doesn't. It's and that's what I kind of liked about Old Republic. You could
yeah.
create your
Oh
character
yeah, yeah.
and go from there. And
And how it
um,
influences every decision you make
yeah,
influences your dark side or light side vibe. And
that's
it's
right. Yeah.
Apparently, Eclipse is going to be something like that. The
Eclipse.
new Star Wars game, Eclipse.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
Eclipse. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Also based in the Old Republic, I think.
They Did
Yeah.
you guys see the game that they did a couple of years ago? It got cancelled though. It was Star Wars.
Oh yes, the
Was it
40.
2077 or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. It was like where
Yeah,
you're. It
a
was based off.
smuggler.
Yeah, you're a smuggler, you could pick if you wanted to be a smuggler or a clone trooper. But
That's right.
the
Yeah.
trailer looked amazing, and then it just
Yeah.
like pulled the plug. But I think that happened when Disney bought Disney bought Lucasfilm,
Mm.
and they like that's also when they decanonized like the Star Wars
Yes.
legends. They just went, okay, cool, canceling everything because obviously they want the money.
Yeah. And now Star Wars Eclipse was supposed to come out this year. It's been postponed. And it looks like an amazing game. It's also the stuff you guys just mentioned. You get to choose what you want to be. I'm not sure if you can choose characters because there's multiple characters in the game. So you get to choose, and apparently the choices you make as those characters change the outcome of the game. And it's also open world Star Wars game
right.
as well.
Nice.
So I'm very much looking forward to that. Big hype around it. I don't know. I don't know if that means it's going to be good, but it looks good. Check it out if you haven't yet.
I mean, as far as I also remember, there is a sequel to Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah,
And as
that's
far as I know, hopefully you get to play with the chick. You know, the chick from that you
Oh.
rescue in what's the place? The Knights of the Sister. What are the Night Sisters?
yes.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Possibly, like I would love to play as her becoming a
Mm.
Jedi. Like a little bit of magic, a little bit of Force vibe. I'm
I'm gonna miss Cal though.
But no, I think he's going to be in it. It's like he's in it, but like maybe they would be. I would love where they can do it. Like you can play with Cal, and then there's
With
one
different
mission.
guys. So
Yeah, you play with
like
him,
one of
and his
those
storyline, and
kind
then
of
you
like
do her storyline.
GTA where you switch between characters.
Yeah,
and
That's right. Yeah.
yeah,
That would
okay.
be kiff.
That would be cool because each one has like different abilities and stuff like that.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
use them according to the mission. That would make sense, and that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, sorry, not Force Awakens. Fallen Order is scheduled to be announced officially sometime this year. They thought it was going to be today. It doesn't look like it. I've been keeping my eye on that. But rumor around the mill is that it's going to be released at the end of 2022 or beginning 2023. That's the rumor at the moment. Nobody knows for sure. But yeah, guys, I think Troubled Cat keeping me, on keeping my feet on the ground. It's a very valid point.
I still haven't played it.
All right, guys. I think we're gonna call it here because it's 9:00, which means I have to go. But I want to thank you both for joining me on this very fun and enlightening conversation. The mistakes of Star Wars. I think we nailed it. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think Star Wars makes a lot of mistakes, but unfortunately, when they do, it's big.
Bad. Very.
Darth, Shaun, thank you so much for showing your face, and
problem.
it was a pleasure to meet you. I hope one day we get to meet in person. I hear you're in Cape Town now, so
Yeah,
we should
yeah.
get together again, or soon. Mork, you and I need to get together soon, and I'll see you again on the show, I'm sure, at some point.
Yeah, anytime.
So yeah, gents, is there anything you want to say in closing? May the
No.
4th be with you.
Yes, of course. May the Force be with all of you. And don't pay for the new Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
What if they do make a Star Wars movie? Are you gonna go?
Oh, of course, I have to.
I love
even if I hate
raging.
it.
I've got to rage. Yeah, go
Yeah,
for
I
it.
mean,
Bring it. More content to talk about.
yeah, no, exactly. That's why I'm really scared of Obi-Wan. I'm just like hoping, please don't ruin the best character in the world. Don't get up.
Now let's keep our hopes up.
Yeah,
Star Wars has Lucasfilm and Disney have been doing well with the series aspect of things,
yeah.
so hopefully they won't screw. I mean, they can't.
What?
Well,
Wait. You haven't watched the Boba Fett, hey?
no.
Okay,
Don't say
well,
anything. Shut up, Mark. Damn.
Okay? Is it good or bad? Just tell me that.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Wait. Okay. So
I'll leave it up
Sean.
for you to decide.
Yeah. Okay, but Sean's not. I can see Sean's not 100% sold on it. Mork, are you?
I mean, there's 2 episodes I liked. The rest, I'm not gonna. I think you should watch it. I don't want to spoil it for you, so
Yeah.
go watch it, and then we should have a Boba Fett
Yes,
chat.
we will. We will do that. Okay. Well, then I retract what I said earlier. We'll just have to see with Obi-Wan, I guess. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, you can catch these guys on the Mork Rock Show. Link is in the description below. Please give them a subscribe. They've gone over 100 subscribers now, and hopefully we'll get them to 1,000 very soon. I mean that in a good way. I'm not
No,
trying
no,
to be.
no, totally.
I'm poking fun at it.
But I know that Mork, I've been wanting to ask you before you go.
Yes.
You had a channel before.
Yeah, we had a channel before.
Yeah. What was it at before it got taken down?
It was called the Dark Side Show.
And how many
It's
subscribers did
still
you have?
We did quite well though. I mean, the
our first
views,
video.
but
We got like
yeah,
almost 1 million views on our first video, and
yeah,
then
we got
apparently
copyright
I'll
strikes.
send you the link. That's why we got into trouble, because of the first video.
Okay, interesting.
It
Well,
happened. It happened like it was about 3 months before the election, and obviously some of the Democrats didn't like the video, and then we
say
got
no
a
more.
yeah.
Before you get this channel taken down. All right, cool. Gents, you're welcome back on the show anytime, and I'm sure I'll have you back again. We will talk. I'm going to watch Boba Fett, and then I'll bring you back on, and we can rage on that for a little bit. So, gents, thank you again for joining me.
Thanks,
It's
Doug.
been lovely. Have a good evening, and I'll chat to you guys soon. Cheers.
Bye.